Herself to make sure that your carries have a little bit more time. Rakan does a similar thing, but gives you a better ball delivery system in my eyes, with him jumping in, following up an initial engage. You get the ball in there, and then it's very easy to land a shockwave when multiple players are charmed up.
This meta has proven to be very side lane driven. And I think that the problem with Orianna in the meta is that she struggles to play on side lanes. What I think Rakan offers is that additional side lane support, given that you're going to be looking to roam a lot. Now, Ashe, as an independent AD carry, is fairly strong in an isolated 1v2 or even 1v1, but you've got to be careful of that lack of mobility, specifically against the Nocturne. So Crisp's positioning on the map is going to be crucial, as WeiWei is going to be looking to catch off those targets.
And Crisp is one of the most, let's say, like fearless with positioning. Very, very aggressive with positioning. Also very aggressive with summoner spells, you know. Yeah. He's one to like spend multiple summoner spells in lane just to get lane prio to try and play with two. So very excited for this one. Game number 1 tells a lot for the full best of 5 and the direction that our just single best of meta will go.
It seems that both teams are taking a very traditional approach to the draft, nothing too crazy, perhaps testing
teams throughout the year. Last year, Weibo made it all the way to the World's Finals, where LNG came up short, getting eliminated in this very stage by T1. Here, LNG look across against a very familiar opposition, some obviously more familiar than others. Tarzan was with them there last year, liked a couple of years ago. But Weibo, again, it feels like a run of mojo. Similarly to playoffs they ran through, based off just their ability to be the underdog, and here we'll see if they can continue that at Worlds 2024. Now, everyone at home, remember you can log into your Riot account on lolesports.com and watch Worlds live to earn exclusive Worlds icons, emotes, capsules, skins. So make sure you are logging in to lolesports.com.
The matchup I'm really excited for is the rematch once again of Xiaohu versus Scout. Medic, you were talking to me about it so extensively coming into this series, about how much these two rivals have met in the mid lane, the record being incredibly close as well.
112 matchups between the two of them across the years. Obviously, Xiaohu used to be on RNG, Scout used to be EDG's main man, so they go all the way back in the LPL. It is 58-54 in favor of Xiaohu. Scout can get that closer here, but he would still be one game behind, even if LNG 3-0 the series.
And here we're going to see Weibo move in for the lane swap, take over the jungle, make sure that there is going to be no steal away from the quote-unquote weak side jungle camps. So nicely done there. They guarantee that Tarzan will be able to get all 3 on the side of the red quadrant, and they chase them off. Meanwhile, you get the mirror, WeiWei right into the other side and starts clearing the opposite jungle.
Good force out there by Crisp, just making Scout take a little bit of his health and take the long way around. Zuka's going to come across to bolster the defense on this mid lane tower, make sure that Scout can get some XP, and you know, obviously the Renekton will be very happy to soak up any XP he can acquire there as well.
The slow push coming in from Gala and Hung in the bot lane as Tarzan splits the map. The question is, Breathe now hitting level 2. When is he looking to TP towards the bot side? For now, he's sticking around the top lane. The mid wave, Zika still yet to reach that level 2 mark.
It's actually a really interesting switch from LNG, because usually what you'll see is the support will go and cover, right? Crisp is now coming across. Zuka's going to go down towards the bottom side, but they're leaving a lot of time with that top lane tower free for Weibo.
Yeah, the big thing to watch is, can Crisp get under the turret? Because they can teleport in Breathe level 2. Crisp would want to try and defend under tower, but WeiWei's trying to block.
He only has the Gleaming Quill in the Grand Entrance right now. No Battle Dance, so none of that shielding from the Rakan. Does have the heal and the flash. Will try and make his way towards this turret, but they've already lost 1 plate.
Oh, look, they're rotating Tarzan as well, so there's going to be 3 members here.
Tarzan's on his way. Breathe in, good wallop, triple stun with the Mega Gnar. LNG thinking about the dive. Breathe dives back in. The damage going down onto Crisp as he's able to dash away. Suppress on Gala will lock him up onto the tower. We've got to pause. We got to pause. Everything goes sepia as Crisp goes down.
3 minutes.
Oh. The dive continues to happen. Gala is going to fall. We can't quite see it on our screens as of yet, but we'll jump back down into the bot lane. Zuka's very low as well. He goes down. It's 2 for Weibo so far. WeiWei trying to trade back onto Tarzan. Hung takes the kill. Breathe able to get back to the safety of the tower, but in the end, it's a 2 for 2.
And again, a 2 for 2 is great news for Weibo there. You're going to see the immediate teleport out from Zika up to the top side after dying, but it's so nice here because Light was up at the tower. Ashe was able to get that extra lane here. And now he can just continue to harass and bully. Look at all this extra damage.
crucially, the timing of the dive is very important as well, because Kobe was talking earlier about how with the bot lane setup, let's go back to this replay. So the TP comes through, a really nice stun comes through from Breathe, and then the attention turns onto Crisp. I like this focus from LNG. The problem is, look at 2 tower shots onto Zika. They get the snipe onto Crisp, but now with the mini Gnar, Breathe and Tarzan can look for the re-engage. Now, you could argue this is a bit of an overcommitment, because at this point, you know, they could disengage, they could prioritize getting the bot farm, but hell, you know what? The kills go over to Hung and WeiWei, which are not the worst targets in the world for Weibo.
And guess what? Your extra 2 levels on Breathe are going to be massive for Weibo. Let's remind you of the regionals, where Zika actually really outperformed Breathe. You know, Zika had an amazing regionals in that 304 LNG, but setting up Breathe here was such a big experience advantage, and especially on a Gnar that is going to scale really nicely into side lanes and to be able to team fight quite well with this Weibo comp. I just think the experience gain here for Weibo is going to be massive.
And Zuka's just so screwed. He doesn't even have flash. He's level 2, 5 minutes into the game with 2 CS. He is going to be able to get to the tower now. I say that, Light and Tarzan immediately stop him. What are you going to do? This is a very sad crocodilian, and he's falling for the first time this game. It is huge, second time in fact, as LNG just can't find a way to get that croc out of deep water.
Weibo are dominating in this early game. They will zone Breathe away from the bot tower. You will be denied those farms, but it doesn't matter. On the top side of the map, Weibo is finding advantages. Crucially though, let's keep track of the gold. The advantages are really being built between the top laners. Sure, Zika is extremely far behind, but Gala getting those plates, still keeping him even in gold alongside Light.
And you also look towards the mid lane, which was, you know, one of our focused matchups here with so much history between Xiaohu and Scout. And Xiaohu on the Orianna is absolutely pumping here. Yep. Constant pressure in mid lane, being able to shove in these waves. Very, very nice for an Orianna, and especially Weibo with the amount of scaling options that they do have.
He's having a whale of time in the mid lane right now. He's got those Ionian boots of lucidity as well. Looks like LNG are going to move up towards the grub. We see the reset coming out from Gala. Hung just walking his way up through the mid lane as well. Both these teams do like to fight around these grubs. We saw it in the LPL and a little bit here at Worlds so far. And with Light being in the bot lane and only just starting to move up, I feel at least the first couple of these are going in LNG's pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the LNG have too much of a numbers advantage. The waves are too good, but they're actually pulling off them. They've gotten the first grub. Breathe is about 50% HP.
Breathe is getting locked up here. Doesn't have time to flash away. LNG collapse and find a kill on the Gnar.
A great engage from Hung. The flash stun into the stacked wave means that he's going to lose that entire farm. And LNG find another kill. They've guaranteed numbers advantage. But now Light has made his way up. He's so close to level 6.
Second grub's definitely going to go over to LNG. Hex flash forward by Hong, trying to get onto Tarzan, who'll stun him against the wall. The dive in with a grand entrance. Zika trying to heal himself back up in the middle of the fight. Gala joining in as well. The knockback on Hong towards the top side, but it's not going to be enough from Weibo so far, and now Light is overextended. Zuka slicing and dicing his way through. The charm connects and Light is down alongside him. Tarzan falls. LNG absolutely trouncing Weibo at the grubs.
Yeah, LNG are fighting their way out of a rough early game, and they're not done.
Scout with another charm, this time onto Crisp. He get caught up with that deadly flourish. And LNG will be able to walk out. 2 grubs to them and 2 kills to boot.
So hugely beneficial for LNG. As you said, you know, Hung didn't hesitate, went straight for Breathe. After that pick, gaining so much. I mean, they didn't clean all of the grubs, but still grabbing 2 out of the first pack is quite nice.
I am shocked that Weibo still tried to fight that.
Are you ready? It's Weibo.
No, I'm not. We did kind of expect this. They love to fight for these grubs, and even at a numbers disadvantage, look, they try to force this, and LNG rightly attack the weak side. There's only 2 members. They don't actually do that much damage initially. Flash away comes in from WeiWei. Hung then forced to disengage, but then this overstep. You noticed it in the fight, Medic. We have to highlight it again.
As well.
Easy collapse comes in from LNG. Scout with a beautiful charm connect. And it means that LNG find that initial kill, and they get enough grubs. That's what matters.
Gonna go a long way towards evening up those experience advantages that Weibo had been able to manufacture for themselves in the opener of the game. I mean, it's still rough for Zika.
Zika's going to struggle, I think, for a while, but Gala has started to even out the gold, at least, that he was falling behind. Like, he just got his 200th kill on the world stage with that kill in this game. He's the 23rd player to do that.
Yeah, and actually, Light here is also level 7 now, so maybe not going to do a lot for the experience. Weibo will see if they can still use those advantages, because they are pushing in both top lane and bottom lane here with Light, with Breathe, and Tarzan takes that opportunity to go for some jungle invades here, trying to put that Nocturne a little bit further behind.
I think part of the risk now for Weibo, though, is that WeiWei is level 6. That paranoia is a looming threat at any moment, right? If you go for a dive, not only will WeiWei be able to join the battle, but also you have to deal with the darkness that comes out. And we'll see how aggressive Weibo want to be. When Tarzan gets the upper hand over any jungler, he loves to go in for these invades.
I will say also, since WeiWei is level 6 on Nocturne, Light used both summoners in the last fight, you know, walking up to Grubs. So he could easily get Nocturne ulted. They have to back off here. Good positioning from the Weibo bottom lane. They know they are very vulnerable, and Nocturne with ult ready would just love an Ashe target.
Breathe, finds an engage on Zika.
Easy, no, Breathe just 1v1s him. We talked about how it would be a struggle for Zika. Well, we see it coming up here for Breathe.
That's a lane swap diff right there, if I've ever seen one, and Breathe capitalizes on it. See if the rest of LNG can try and get...
There's the darkness. Immediately they jump in with the paranoia. Hung's on the flank as well. They wait for the flash. Shattering strike. The chase continues. And Xiaohu is down. Now the curtain's open. And maybe we'll close on Weibo in this game one. LNG have been winning every fight so far. Weibo trying to get away. Crisp with a good knock-up. The chase continues as Hung looks for another shattering strike. But he's the one turned onto by Weibo. Magnus Storm the charm again onto Light, but no follow-up for LNG. One back in the pocket for Weibo, and they'll look for more as WeiWei has no flash. But it looks like in the end, both teams will disengage.
Yeah, LNG, they actually opted to go for the kills there instead of Dragon. They left the Dragon with about 700 HP. So Tarzan was able to pick up that Dragon. And while they did chase down one kill, it's still one back for Weibo in the aftermath as well. So Weibo actually coming out with Dragon +1.
You'll see the engage come through. Keep your eyes on WeiWei. He spots out Xiaohu, Hung with the Hex Flash over the wall to help lock him down, Scout with the ulti to help follow up, and this is the idea behind the composition, right? Great single target lockdown, and Weibo say, okay, Xiaohu, good luck, we're just gonna get the Dragon and we'll take that trade. But then LNG overextend, and ultimately, this is the beauty of this matchup. Both of these teams are eager to fight, they're eager to get something back after they lose something, and it results in these chaotic situations where we're 5 to 6 in kills 11 minutes in.
It's also first game of our quarterfinal stage. You know, we moved to Paris, there's excitement in the air, and they are scrapping. LNG, of course, in that chase, the you know, big downfall was splitting up and having 2 on each side of the big wall there, so an overstep indeed, Vedius.
Credit to WeiWei, so far he's been involved in every single kill that LNG have been able to find on the map. He's gotten a small gold advantage, but Tarzan's been able to close that gap as he's going to secure the last grub. It looks like we're not going to be getting full grubs this game.
I think LNG do need to try and look for a play here with WeiWei and Scout. Both of them kind of peaking right now. Once you get your Stride Breaker plus your Ludens complete, the Nocturne Ori combo is very, very dangerous. You pointed out how they were able to take down Xiaohu at the Dragon fight, and Xiaohu actually flashed there too. So the Orianna is definitely a repeat target for LNG. They want to keep on scrapping, get more and more kills here in the mid-game so they can actually use that gold.
We see Light throwing out the ultimate there as well. Gala had no cleanse, and around the corner, Crisp was waiting to collapse that. Enchanted Crystal Arrow, only about 90 seconds cooldown at this point, so assuming there's no objective up for the next 90 seconds, doesn't really matter if you throw it out like that. As you can see, Rift held in exactly 1 minute 30, so they will have that back up for the next team fight.
The downside for LNG is that Zika is just useless in this game. He has been put so far behind. In terms of gold, you can see he's only about 500 down, but the bigger problem is the experience disadvantage. A full 2 levels down is going to be massive as we get closer to, in particular, those level 13s where you have 2 skills maxed out and these mid-game team fights.
And Vedius, this hits perfectly on a conversation that people were having after the regional finals where Weibo did not get much time at all to prepare for their full best of 5 versus LNG, so they made sure to prepare this time around with the lane swap and actually making such a big difference here with the experience advantage. So I guess, you know, everyone who was talking about that conversation after regionals, you know, it does look quite a bit different when you have a lot more time to focus on a single opponent here.
I think the question always was, how big a grain of salt does that series need to be taken with, right? And it seems like it's a bit more than a pinch, but less than a mountain, as that's a very big grain of salt, a mountain. That's, yeah, very large.
I mean, it's such a fascinating history where in the best of fives and
Looking for breathe here. We'll jump away, then flash away from the fear. The Stridebreaker slow is on him, but the collapse begins from Weibo, and LNG will back away.
The problem is that ulti will now not be available for Herald or Dragon. Weibo, looking at the minimap, Xiaohu is Xiaohu is going bot lane to match Zika. He does have the TP available. And again, we've already learned this from the Grubs. If you are new to these teams, they're eager to fight for these objectives, and both junglers have set their sights on it.
Xiaohu does have that TP coming and catching the wave in the bot side. Zika no TP on that Renekton, so we'd have to run all the way across. LNG giving up area, giving up ground in this river right now, knowing they can't really take the fight because it could become a 5v4.
Yeah, and LNG generally more methodical with their play too, so this does kind of make sense. You know, Dragon coming up in 25 seconds as well. I mean, Hung is still going to like fish around, and they do have Scout coming over towards his control ward, but since you see Nocturne already committing to bottom, it does seem to be the trade. And again, I do think that is the more like LNG style play. Get the tower goal down here, really try and play off of the cross-map play.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed tower and likely the Drake in exchange for a possible tower from the Rift Herald charge. Obviously, mid lane tower has been seen to have a little bit more value than a bot tier 1, but we'll see how well Weibo actually use that Rift Herald later on.
And the guaranteed tower, they definitely need that gold. You mentioned, you know, Renekton can use every little bit he can get, but looks like Tarzan coming down here to check you on Dragon. Ashe Arrow is available, by the way, so you really do have to respect it. Once Weibo get vision.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with LNG is they've actually overstacked on the top side of the map to try and protect that tier 1. While they were able to secure the first tower of the game, which gave a big influx of gold over to Zika, you're now just abandoning this Dragon as well, allowing Weibo to go 2 dragons up. They've been, Crisp.
Crisp looking for that backline, going in with the quickness is feared, caught with the deadly flourish as well, but can just walk out, gets to safety. We talked about Crisp's creativeness from time to time, and I think we saw it there.
And when you do see that, and oftentimes you'll see Crisp either just get chunked out or sometimes get caught out altogether, you have to remember that he's going really deep there to get some of this deep vision. And oftentimes he does go by himself, so it's kind of risky, but you know, with the rest of the team there, that one didn't have a lot of risk to it. We mentioned the Ashe Arrow is ready, there's a lot of follow-up ready, and so maybe that extra vision deep through the jungle will pay off later, because Weibo, with the comp that they've drafted this time around, you gotta believe they are so confident in their 5-on-5 as we progress, dealing with LNG, who are a lot pick-oriented. You know, some very focused damage on LNG. That's why the Weibo game plan, I think, was so well thought out.
They shocked us with it. Weibo!
Weibo! Surprise!
The focus for both teams now becomes on these adder towers. With the Herald available for Weibo, they have plenty of options. It looks like they're setting their sights on the top line, which makes a lot of sense to me given its HP. They also have the ability to push through top and either commit the Herald top to play for a tier 2, or bring that pressure from top down into mid and then try and use it there. Meanwhile, Zika is keeping that push down on towards the bot side of the map. Breathe, while in the 1v1 should be able to win, is conscious of the fact that he's playing on the weak side, so he has to be defensive. A nice charm comes through from Scout.
TP behind as well as LNG looking for the flank here. Hong's on his way across. You can see Gala trying to work his way across here as well. Zika with that TP, counter TP used. LNG will start to back away. They see the reinforcements arriving for Weibo, and in the end, just a TP for TP exchange.
Breathe again. Got to be a little bit careful here. Is going to turn mini soon. When he turns mini, would be the opportunity, but I don't think they've forgotten Zika was on the top side, and so just going to be that rotation over towards mid.
I like the adaptation here from Weibo. LNG committed a TP to really not any effect, and Weibo are able to hold that top side of the map while also being able to put pressure down in mid. Tarzan now may have caught out Zika.
Edge of it stop coming out. There's the Impale as well. Zika has to try and slice his way out. Will burn the flash as well. The chase could have continued from Weibo.
But that's likely going to be a guaranteed top tower now, so they got good damage down onto mid lane. They'll eventually get that top tower, and once again, Zika is denied. Crucially, Scout is keeping the push in towards bot. Xiaohu is going to go and match that, but the rest of LNG are there to support him.
Yeah, LNG have to keep trying to play split.
Arrow. Oh, this could bait. Xiaohu might go a little bit too far because the arrow's hit, but the defenses are here for LNG. In the end, Xiaohu didn't overextend. Charm going down as well. It was a good arrow from Light, but really not much occurring from it.
The Merc Tread's offering a lot of value there in that situation.
Still some worries here for LNG as they try and scramble, they try and make some cross map, they try and make some split plays, constantly looking for areas that they can pick people off with. But Weibo moving up here pretty methodically themselves. You see opposite side of the jungle taken over, and the flash that was blown on Zika will have huge repercussions for the side laning potential for the next 5 minutes of this game. Already Breathe had been set up for success in this game. Already he had made his way very early on to the Trinity Force, and if you give him flash advantage, it does become very difficult for LNG, and LNG have to play off of like this Nocturne threat for all of their side lane plays, and you have to look for the possibilities of those trailing split push. Yep. The only problem for LNG is that they also don't have teleports to pull those off with, so you have to commit a lot of resources when you're looking for one of those plays.
And we talked about it a little bit in draft, right? Orianna isn't the best in a split push position, especially when you have something like the Nocturne that can jump on you. But because Xiaohu knows Breathe can survive in a 2v1 for long enough, he can just play further back. He doesn't have to be applying too much pressure on the map because he knows Breathe is going to do that for him on the top side.
One of the things we talked about was Crisp's mobility on the Rakan, and you'll notice it again on the minimap, trying to clear out this bot side vision. While there is still very deep ward coverage from LNG, it provides a bit of extra safety. Xiaohu, though, choosing not to overextend. Whereas Scout, with full confidence, knowing he sees the entire Weibo's bot side jungle, constantly catching that wave, pushing in, and keeping this pressure up, ready to contest the third dragon.
That's very much what we expected between these two teams. The LPL number 3 and number 4 seed, 8 and 8 across the course of the year against each other, and it's always close. Like, you can never really tell who's going to win. I think coming into this series, most people were saying LNG's world form is slightly better, but we haven't seen them play in 12 days. They went 4-0 and just qualified to the quarterfinals. Weibo have given us a little bit more tape, but these two teams have battled so many times across the course of the year. I think everyone knew it was likely to be a 50-50.
I like what Weibo are doing right now. You know, they're utilizing that Breathe advantage on top side to get chunks on tower and control the jungle between them and mid lane. You saw just Chris earlier on your screen keeping these wards up here so they can continue to control the rotation path.
The tiniest window where Zuka's TP will be up and Breathes will not. Scout's about to go back to base. We do have the Hex Gates to speed his passage back towards the river, but he might go towards the top side. They have a control ward around that red. You could look for a fight against Breathe and give up the third Drake, but it is sole point for Weibo if you do that.
And I really want to highlight Light. Light has such great potential in this game, and he's been so good for Weibo all summer long. He's got 2 items here with his Phantom Dancer on top of the Kraken Slayer. Pretty big advantage versus the Jhin that's just on the last whisper and pieces. So just the static shiv. I mean, we've seen some static shivs do work at Worlds. Jackie Love definitely kind of inspiring people with that one, but I think it would have to be a bit of a dream for LNG if they could actually pull a fight like that off, because Weibo are set up so nicely here. Double control wards, controlling the entry. Such a very solid front line for them to play off of, and they can just group on Dragon, no problem.
LNG looking for an engage. Scout on the flank is still being tracked. Dragon will quickly reset. Zuka continuing to push in the top side of the map, has the TP available.
Xiaohu just putting the ball down. They go in with the arrow immediately. They dive onto Hung, and he is down. Breed looks for more, but Gala has to flash the wall, but Chris can continue to chase. He gets the blast cone. Gala knocked back. Wallop just short. The paranoia out from WeiWei. He tries to buy a second for his AD carry to escape. Scout on the flank doesn't hit the charm, but Xiaohu falls to the curtain call. Now Scout getting chased down towards the bottom side of the map. Breed still going in, needs a couple more autos, can't quite get them. WeiWei turns his attention across to the walls, but really he's just looking for a way back to the mid lane. The chase continues. Light goes in, flash impale. TP behind us now. Weibo might be flanked. Gala looking for a little bit more. Scout coming back in with the teleport of his own. Zuka onto the back line. Targets Light first. Light flashes away. Zuka! Flash follows him. And now Breed's running for the hills. The engage onto Tarzan. LNG somehow turn the fight around.
LNG grabbing the extra kills, and are they going to head towards mid lane tower? They only have one minion, so hovering around Baron. I mean, they don't have great Baron damage. It's an exciting couple of kills here, but the objective still went to Weibo, getting themselves to soul points, and you don't have DPS for a big Baron rush, so it's just going to stop at that for LNG.
Weibo overcommitted on the play. They got an initial pick, they had easy access onto the Dragon, but then they decide to chase so deep that LNG could convert it into multiple small skirmishes where Zuka could then finally find a good TP.
And specifically, I think Xiaohu got a little too hype. Xiaohu split from the rest of the Weibo members that were chasing and did not respect the Nocturne turning back around. The original pick, amazing here for Weibo. And then Breathe is able to use the Hex Gate to force Gala's flash and continue to pressure them. But here, Xiaohu goes forward into the two members, and with Nocturne ult on, you see Breeze back up here, and it actually allowed LNG to have multiple members flanking. That Nocturne ultimate power there actually causing Weibo a bit of trouble, and then you saw the teleports coming back out, and they chain an extra couple.
And Zuka, he might be weak, but if you've got nothing left, he's just going to run you down. Having free access to push out that top side allowed him to secure Starak, giving him that additional durability and helping LNG clean up the fight.
That's the key right there, Vedius. No longer weak after you get that extra gold on the top side, allowing him to get to his 2-item power spike and kind of run through here. So we're keeping it exciting. Gold lead back the way of LNG, but still the objectives for Weibo.
Which is crazy. Yeah. Because based on how this game has been going, you shouldn't. Oh, Arrow.
Arrow onto Hung once again. Doesn't have the flash to escape. Charmed up, knocked into the wall. WeiWei dives on the back line. The paranoia is doing so much work, and in the face of darkness, there is no light. Scout gets the kill. It's a double for him. Double impale coming out, but Scout still has 2 charges of the Spirit Boss. Tarzan gets 1. In response, LNG trying to turn this fight in their favors, and they'll do exactly that. So far, it's a 3-for-1 exchange. Xiaohu and Breed trying to do everything they can. No flash for the Gnar, but he does have that ultimate in a second. He's going to go Mega and try to chase down Hung. Shadowing Strike into the crash down. Breed won't get anything more out of the battle.
This is the brawl we expected from the brothers of the LPL. Scout is such a phenomenal Ahri player, finding the angle onto the backside. You'll notice the engage comes through from Weibo. They think that they've caught out Hung. He's not allowed to be here. The knockup comes through. There's the Ashe arrow. Keep track of Scout though on the right side, using the coverage of the darkness. Forces Light into an awkward position. He gets chunked out by WeiWei. And then the rest of the fight ends up Tarzan trying to salvage it.
Also, on the mini-map, you'll see Zika comes up first. The Renekton is able to rotate over first. Because of that Nocturne ultimate that you mentioned, when the lights were turned out, there was no teleport from Breathe early, and so then you have to wait the whole duration of that Nocturne ultimate. He could not join with his teleport, and the Gnar, who had been a very big factor, actually walks over, and everybody's already dead.
The big thing for Weibo, though, is LNG have kind of won the last 2 fights. They're still only 2,000 gold ahead. They haven't picked up a Baron. They haven't even taken the mid-tier 1. Weibo are on soul point. All it takes for Weibo is 1 good fight and you feel like the game's over. For LNG, all the fighting seems to be happening a little bit mismatched with when you can actually take these objectives, or they're losing a couple too many men to be actually able to take anything off the back of it.
The problem for Weibo is that they can't find these good fights. So far, they haven't really been able to find that big wombo combo engage. They're finding picks here and there, but once you commit all of your damage onto a single target, you're kind of run out of steam very quickly, and in the re-engage and the skirmishes, LNG really do thrive. Look at the bottom of your screen. The Renekton, who is 2 levels down, 600 gold down, pretty much the entire game, is now up. He's still only, well, he's a level behind now, but it's much better than what it was. And Scout is 4-0-4 on the Ahri.
The Baron is very dark for LNG, though, here. Weibo, see how many resources they can get out of them. There's still a Scryers available on Gala. So LNG just going to push mid and then rotate over to this Dragon 7 seconds away from the Hextech Soul arrival. And Weibo, they're just going to force on Baron instead. They will trade away one dragon. They don't want the soul right now. They'll take the pushing power.
I mean, they're not even going to lose the dragon because LNG are trying to take the fight around the Baron, but that Baron's going to be gone before they can really begin it. The paranoia comes out. TP is being invested as well by LNG. Quickness. The charm going on to WeiWei as well as he dived in with that paranoia, but Ishtar's impact is enough to get Tarzan out. LNG might turn now towards the dragon, but they wanted the fight first.
What are LNG doing? The Baron was dark for so long, and then they, as you say, they didn't even finish the dragon that they were on. Now they're going to rotate over to it, but with the Baron-empowered recalls, look at the tempo available to Weibo. They have both solo laners pushing top. The tower's going to die while you're now picking up your dragon, and Weibo are going to push this one through.
Zika has the teleport. He'll stay in the pit and can base, but could teleport if that push continued for Weibo on the top side. They'll just take the tier 2. They'll get the gold back in their favor, and with this Red Bull Baron power play already cresting towards that 3,000 mark, Weibo have so much gold standing on the map. A tier 2 in mid lane, a tier 1, tier 2 in bot lane as well. They can take so much away from LNG in the next 2 minutes' time.
Great awareness from Weibo, committing the TP, leveraging the fog of war. Ironically, using the darkness against the Nocturne team to their advantage. Weibo are able to secure the Baron. They concede the dragon for now, but they equalize the gold once more and put themselves in the driving position as they set the sights on the bot tier 1.
All right, LNG, can they find an area to get any sort of pick? Because Weibo's team fight is so structured and so tanky here. Tarzan on triple items on his Skarner with Orianna shields coming through. Like if Weibo just group up and use their Baron to push in, they'll be able to collect, as you say, so much extra gold off the map.
Yeah, for LNG, it almost feels like a twofold play, right? You know, go in with the paranoia, burn light, splash, and then next time you have it up, you can actually get some kills off the back of it. Weibo aren't giving you that twofold play. They're not having anyone isolated in mid lane right now. 5 members pushing strong down towards this bottom side. Crisp just hanging out of the back, making sure they have vision behind them and then can always jump forward with the quickness. Weibo extending their lead. It is only 1,000 gold, but it has swung in their favor over the last couple of minutes.
I mean, this has probably been one of the closest games we've had at Worlds, with the gold so quickly switching back and forth between the two teams. Weibo continuing their siege as Tarzan looks for a pick, but LNG are able to disengage. The arrow connects, but I don't think there's much follow-up here.
It's fine. It's like a 75-second cooldown right now. Just using it to see perhaps if you could catch someone out. Weibo, there's 3 cannon minions in this.
Their siege is working.
The siege is incredible. They'll break open the base of LNG, who are still looking for some sort of flank position. Hung is in the river. He's a mile away. He's basically in Spain with how far he's away from the rest of his team right now, looking for that flank. He's going to be marked, though, by Tarzan, and Hung will realize he doesn't really have a way in here. WeiWei, though, does with the paranoia, diving onto the backline, but there's no damage to follow him up. Zika trying to dive in and get the damage down onto Breathe, who somehow still survives. Zika down! Weibo collapse. It's 4-0 in favor of Weibo.
See what else they can get here. Gala is still alive, but he's got to run for his base right now. He's got 1 bullet and a dream, and I don't think that's going to be enough to fend off Weibo.
That was the big team fight that Weibo was looking for. Tarzan flashes in. Gala runs for his life.
He's just slammed into the wall. The cleanse will do nothing for him at all, apart from perhaps cleanse his mind of this game. Weibo in control. They'll go 1-0 up over LNG.
An incredible back and forth. Great demonstrations from both sides, but it was the Baron call from Weibo that cemented them game 1.
Little bit of a revenge here for Weibo for the regional finals. Really like the draft plus lane swap combination.
Very much agree with you. We'll be back in just a few moments with game 2 of this banger series. Don't you dare go anywhere.